was tired. His body hurt and his eyes were heavy. He had worked for 16 hours at the repair shop, fixing old cars and broken engines. The smell of oil and metal was still on his hands when he walked into his small apartment inn. He did not eat dinner. He did not take a shower. He just fell onto his bed and closed his eyes. Sleep came fast, like a dark wave pulling him under the water. But something was wrong. Felt cold, the kind of cold that goes deep into your bones. He tried to pull his blanket closer, but his hands touched something smooth and hard. It was not his blanket. It was not his bed. His eyes opened. Above him was not the ceiling of his apartment. There were no cracks. There was no old paint. Instead, he saw lights. Thousands of tiny blue and purple lights moving slowly like stars in the night sky. They were beautiful, but they were not from Earth. Sat up fast. His heart was beating hard in his chest. He looked around and saw that he was lying on a flat surface made of something like glass, but it was warm under his touch. The room was large, very large. The walls curved upward and met at a point far above his head. Everything was clean and smooth, with soft light coming from places he could not see. "Where am I?" he said. His voice sounded small in this big space. Then he heard footsteps, not the sound of shoes on a floor, but something lighter, like wind moving through leaves. He turned his head and saw her. She was tall, taller than any woman he had ever seen. Her skin was pale silver and it seemed to glow from inside. Her hair was long and white, falling down her back like water. Her eyes were the strangest part. They were deep purple with no white part at all, just purple like the evening sky before night comes. She wore a long dress made of something that looked like liquid metal. It moved as she walked, changing shape and color with each step. On her head was a crown made of thin silver lines that floated above her hair without touching it. She was not human, knew this in his heart before his mind could think it. "You are awake," she said. Her voice was soft but powerful. It filled the room without being loud. "That is good. I was worried the travel would be too hard for your body." Tried to stand, but his legs were weak. He fell back onto the glass surface. "Who are you? What is this place? How did I get here?" The woman walked closer. Each step she took made no sound at all. She stopped a few feet away from him and looked down with those purple eyes. "My name is," she said. "I am the Queen of the Empire. We rule over 47 star systems. This ship is my royal vessel, and we are currently traveling through what your people call empty space." His mouth was open, but no words came out. His brain was trying to understand what she was saying, but it was too much. Aliens, spaceships, queens. It was like a dream, but the cold air on his skin told him this was real. "You must have many questions," continued. "That is normal, but first I must tell you something important." She paused, and for a moment something like worry crossed her face. "You and I are now married." "What?" The word came out as a shout. Finally found the strength to stand. He was shorter than her by almost a head, but he did not care. "Married? I don't even know you. I was sleeping in my apartment. How can I be married?" Raised one hand and the air around them shimmered. A picture appeared, floating in front of. It showed symbols and words he did not understand, but he could see his own face in the image. Next to his face was her face. 300 years ago, explained, my ancestors created a prophecy. It said that the queen of our time would find her partner on a distant world. This partner would have special blood that matched our oldest royal line. For centuries, we searched. We sent ships to thousands of planets. We tested millions of beings. She looked at with something that might have been wonder. Your blood matched. When we found you, the ancient ritual was performed. By our law, the bond was created while you slept. You are now my husband and I am your wife. Took a step back, his head was spinning. This is crazy. You can't just marry someone without asking them. That's not how it works. I understand your confusion, said. Her voice was patient, like a teacher speaking to a child. But you must understand our situation. The marriage bond is sacred to the Breaking it would bring great shame to my empire. More than that, it would start a war." "A war? What do you mean?" His purple eyes grew darker. "There are other empires in this galaxy. They watch us always, waiting for any sign of weakness. If I break the sacred bond, they will say I am not fit to rule. They will attack my worlds. Billions will die." She paused. "And they will also attack your world, Earth." Felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. He thought about his family, his friends, his country. He thought about all the people on Earth who had no idea that aliens existed, living their normal lives. "You're saying if I refuse, Earth gets attacked?" "Yes," said simply. "I do not want this either. I did not choose you. The prophecy chose you. But now we must live with what has happened." Walked to the edge of the room. There was a large window there, and through it he could see stars. More stars than he had ever seen in his life. They were bright and clear like diamonds on black cloth. Somewhere out there was Earth, his home, his life. He turned back to look at. She stood in the middle of the room, tall and beautiful and strange. She was a queen of an alien empire, and somehow he was now her husband. "How long do I have to decide?" he asked. "There is no decision to make," replied. "The bond already exists. What you must decide is how you will live with it. Will you fight against fate, or will you accept it and find a new path?" Had no answer. He only had more questions. But as he stood there, looking at the stars through the window of an alien spaceship, one thing became clear to him. His old life was over. Whatever came next, he would never be the same ordinary mechanic from again. 3 days passed on the royal ship. Learned to count time by the way the lights in his room changed from blue to gold and back again. He had been given a large room with a soft bed and strange food that tasted like nothing he had ever eaten before. The food was good, but it made him miss Korean rice and soup. During these 3 days did not visit him. Servants came instead. They were like her, tall and silver-skinned, but they did not have her glow. They brought him clothes made of the same liquid metal that wore. The clothes changed shape to fit his body perfectly. They also brought him a small device that sat in his ear and helped him understand their language. On the 4th day, a servant came with a different message. "The Queen wishes to see you," she said. "Please follow me." Followed her through long hallways. The ship was larger than he had imagined. They passed rooms filled with plants that glowed in the dark, rooms with pools of water that floated in the air, and rooms with soldiers standing guard. The soldiers looked at with curious eyes but said nothing. Finally, they reached a great door. It opened without anyone touching it and stepped inside. The room was like a garden. Trees with silver leaves grew from the floor, and small creatures with wings flew between the branches. In the center of the garden was a pool of clear water. Sat beside it, looking at her reflection. "Thank you for coming," she said without turning around. "Please sit." Found a bench made of white stone and sat down. He waited for her to speak. "I have thought much about you," said. She finally turned to look at him. In this light, she seemed less like a queen and more like a person. "I realized I have been unfair. I told you about the prophecy, but I did not explain why it matters." "I would like to understand," said carefully. Stood and walked toward him. She moved her hand and the air filled with pictures. They showed planets, stars, ships, and battles. "The Empire is old," she began. "We have existed for 10,000 years. In that time we have faced many enemies. We have won many wars, but each war took something from us. Our people grew tired. Our birth rates dropped. Slowly we began to die." The pictures changed. Now they showed families with fewer and fewer children. Cities that once were full became empty. 500 years ago, our scientists discovered something, continued. Our blood had become weak. We had married only among ourselves for too long. We needed new blood from outside our race. Without it, they would disappear within 1,000 years. Listened carefully. He was starting to understand. The prophecy was not just words from the past, explained. It was a promise. Our ancestors had searched the galaxy and found many planets with life. Most beings were too different from us. Their blood could not mix with ours. But there was one planet where the beings were close enough. That planet was Earth. "So you need humans," said slowly. "You need our blood to survive." "Yes," looked at him directly. "But not just any human. The match had to be perfect. Your blood contains something rare, something that connects to our oldest royal family. You are the only human in your entire world with this gift." Shook his head. "I'm just a mechanic. I fix cars. I don't have any special blood. You made a mistake." Smiled for the first time. It was a small smile, but it changed her whole face. She looked younger, softer. "There is no mistake. The machines never lie. You carry the blood of ancient kings, though you did not know it. Perhaps one of your ancestors long ago was visited by our people. Perhaps the connection was planted then." She sat down across from him. "I know this is strange for you. It is strange for me too. I was trained from birth to be a queen. I knew I would marry for duty, not for love. But I did not expect to marry someone from another world, someone who does not know our ways." Felt something change inside him. He had been angry before. He had felt like a prisoner. But now he saw that was also trapped. She did not choose this any more than he did. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now we travel to my home world," said. "There, you will be presented to my court. Many of them will not accept you. They will say a human is not worthy to stand beside the queen. Some will challenge you." "Challenge me? You mean they will want to fight me?" "Yes. By our law, any noble can challenge a royal partner if they believe that partner is weak. If you fail the challenges, our marriage will be broken. But it will not save Earth. A broken marriage will only make things worse." Felt fear growing in his chest. He was not a fighter. He was not a soldier. He was a man who was good with his hands and good with machines. How could he face alien warriors? But then he remembered something his grandfather used to say. "A smart man does not need to be strong. He only needs to use what he has." "Tell me about these challenges," said. "What will I have to do?" Looked surprised. "You are not running away. You are not begging me to send you home. Why?" Thought about the question. He thought about Earth and the billions of people who did not know they were in danger. He thought about his mother and his younger sister. He thought about the old man at the repair shop who gave him his first job. "Because running away won't help anyone," he said finally. "If I fail, Earth suffers. If I refuse, Earth suffers. The only way forward is to try and win." Looked at him for a long moment. Something in her eyes changed. It was respect. "The challenges will test your body, your mind, and your spirit. The first challenge will be strength. The second will be wisdom. The third will be courage. You must pass all three." "When do they happen?" "In 10 days, when we reach my home world." 10 days. Had 10 days to prepare for the most important tests of his life. He had no weapons, no powers, and no training. All he had was his human brain and his human will. He looked at and nodded. "Then we better start preparing." For the first time, the alien queen did not look at him like he was a problem to be solved. She looked at him like he might actually have a chance. "Come," she said, standing up. "I will show you what you will face, and I will teach you what I can." Together they walked out of the garden room. Behind them, the silver trees swayed in an invisible wind, and somewhere in the distance, the stars waited for what would come next. The home world of the was called. When first saw it through the ship's window, his breath stopped in his chest. The planet was bigger than Earth, with 3 moons hanging in the sky. The land was covered in silver forests and blue oceans that sparkled like jewels. Great cities rose from the surface, their towers reaching toward the clouds. The royal ship landed in the capital city and walked beside through streets made of polished stone. Thousands had come to see them. They stood along the path, their purple and silver eyes fixed on. Some looked curious. Many looked angry. He heard whispers that his translator turned into words. "A human. The queen married a human." Look how small he is. Look how weak. This is an insult to our ancestors. Kept his head high and his face calm. He had faced difficult customers at the repair shop. He had handled angry bosses. He could handle whispers. The palace was at the center of the city. It was the largest building had ever seen, with walls that seemed to be made of light itself. Inside, the great hall was filled with nobles in beautiful clothes. They sat in floating chairs, arranged in a circle around a central platform. Led to the platform. They stood there together as an old with a long white beard stepped forward. He was dressed in golden robes and carried a staff that glowed with inner fire. "I am keeper of the ancient laws," the old man said. His voice echoed through the hall. "Today, we witness the presentation of the Queen's chosen partner. According to our tradition, any noble may challenge this partnership." Almost immediately, a voice rang out, "I challenge." A tall male stepped forward from the crowd. He was young and strong, with shoulders wide and muscles visible under his silver skin. His eyes burned with anger as he looked at. "I am son of the great general," he announced. "I will not allow our queen to be shamed by this creature from a backward world. I challenge him to the 3 trials." More voices joined in. Soon, 5 nobles had stepped forward, each one demanding the right to challenge. But by the ancient law, only one could fight. The nobles argued among themselves until finally won the honor. He was the strongest, they said. He would easily defeat the human. The first trial was the trial of strength, and were taken to a fighting arena outside the palace. Thousands have filled the seats, eager to watch the human fail. The rules were simple. Each fighter would hold one end of a metal rod. The first to let go would lose. No weapons, no tricks, just pure strength. Looked at, there was twice his size. His arms were like tree trunks. This was not a fight could win with muscle alone. But his grandfather's words came back to him. Use what you have. When the signal came, pulled hard, felt his feet slide on the ground. The pain in his arms was terrible, but he did not let go. Instead, he did something unexpected. He stepped forward. Instead of pulling back against, pushed toward him. Who had been leaning backward to pull, lost his balance. He stumbled, and for just a moment his grip loosened. Twisted the rod. He turned his whole body, using his own strength against him. The move was not about power. It was about timing. It was about angles. It was about understanding how force works. The rod slipped from his hands and clattered to the ground. The arena went silent. Then the whispers started again. The human one, how is this possible? Raised his staff. The first trial goes to the human. Prepare for the trial of wisdom. The second trial took place in a room filled with strange machines. Explained the rules. Both fighters would be given the same puzzle. The puzzle was a broken machine that had many parts. The first to fix it and make it work would win. Smiled when he heard this. They were masters of technology. They had built ships that crossed galaxies. Surely a simple human could not match their wisdom in machines. But did not know what did for a living. When the signal came, both fighters went to their machines, worked quickly, following the patterns he had learned in school. He connected wires and adjusted settings according to the books he had read. Did not follow any pattern. He looked at the machine the way he looked at a broken engine in his shop. He touched the parts, feeling how they fit together. He listened to the sounds they made. He smelled the air for burning or rust. Then he found it, a small piece deep inside the machine that had been put in the wrong place. It was not in any book because it was not supposed to be there. Someone had added it as a trick. Removed the piece, reconnected 2 wires and pressed the start button. His machine hummed to life. Was still working when the judges announced that had won. Now the crowd was not whispering. They were shouting. Some were angry, but others were starting to look at with different eyes. He had beaten them at their own games. The third trial was the trial of courage. This one was different. There were no rules, only a question. Led to a dark room. In the center of the room was a pit filled with creatures that moved like shadows. They had teeth and claws and eyes that glowed red. They were called night crawlers, and their bite brought terrible pain. To prove your courage, said, you must reach into the pit and pull out a golden stone that lies at the bottom. If you hesitate, if you run, you fail. Stood nearby, watching with a smile. No human, he thought, would be brave enough to put his hand among the night crawlers. Walked to the edge of the pit. He looked at the creatures below. They hissed at him, hungry and waiting. Fear rose in his throat, cold and sharp. But he thought of Earth. He thought of his mother's face. He thought of the children playing in the streets of who would never know that aliens existed. He reached down into the pit. The night crawlers bit him. Pain shot through his arm like fire, but did not pull back. He pushed deeper, searching through the darkness. His fingers touched something cold and round. He pulled out the golden stone and held it high. Blood dripped from his arm. His face was pale with pain, but he stood straight and looked at with steady eyes. I pass, he said. The arena erupted. Even the nobles who had wanted him to fail could not deny what they had seen. The human had faced their trials and won them all. Stepped forward and took his injured arm. Her eyes were shining with something he had not seen before, pride. You have proven yourself, she said softly. You are worthy. And for the first time since he woke up on that strange ship, allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, he could survive in this alien world. After the trials, things changed. The nobles who had looked at with disgust now bowed their heads when he passed. The servants who had whispered behind his back now spoke to him with respect. Even, who had lost to him, gave a small nod when they met in the hallways. But the biggest change was in. She began to visit him in the evenings. At first, they talked about simple things. She taught him about the history of her people, the names of the stars, the plants in her gardens. He told her about Earth, about the food his mother made, about the sound of rain on a metal roof. One evening, as they sat in her private garden, asked him a question that surprised him. Do you miss your home? Looked up at the 3 moons of every day, he said honestly. I miss the smell of the sea. I miss the sound of Korean on the streets. I miss my family. Was quiet for a moment. I have never thought about what it means to leave home. I was born in this palace. I have never known anything else. That sounds lonely, said. His eyes widened slightly. No one had ever said such a thing to her before. Perhaps it is, she admitted. I have advisors and servants, but no one I can truly talk to. No one who sees me as just me. Understood. In some ways they were both prisoners. He was trapped by circumstance, and she was trapped by duty. I see you, he said simply. Not the queen, just you. Something soft crossed his face. She reached out and touched his hand. Her skin was cool but gentle. Thank you, that means more than you know. As the days passed, began to notice things. Small things that did not seem right. A servant who walked too quickly. A guard who looked away when passed. Whispers that stopped suddenly when he entered a room. His years at the repair shop had taught him to pay attention to details. A machine that made a strange sound was a machine about to break. The same was true for people. One night he could not sleep. He decided to walk through the palace, hoping the movement would calm his mind. The hallways were empty and dark, lit only by the soft glow of the walls. Then he heard voices. They came from a room ahead, the door slightly open. Moved closer, pressing himself against the wall. He held his breath and listened. The queen trusts the human now. She is distracted. This is our best chance. The voice belonged to a male, deep and cold. But the guards are always with her, said another voice, higher and nervous. Not during the moon festival tomorrow night. When she stands on the balcony to bless the people, she will be alone for exactly 1 minute. That is when we strike. And the human. Kill him first. He is nothing without his tricks. Once they are both dead, Lord will take the throne. His heart was pounding so loud he thought they might hear it. Someone was planning to kill. Someone was planning to kill him too. He crept away from the door, careful not to make a sound. When he was far enough, he ran. He ran to his chambers, past surprised guards who tried to stop him. "I need to see the Queen," he shouted, "now." Came out wearing a simple sleeping robe. Her face was confused, then worried when she saw his expression. "What is wrong?" He told her everything, every word he had heard. The plan, the timing, the name of the person behind it all. Lord. His face became hard as stone. "He was always jealous of my family, but I did not think he would go this far." "What do we do?" asked. Paced the room, thinking. "If we arrest him now, he will say we are lying. He has many friends among the nobles. We need proof." "Then we set a trap," said. Looked at him. "What do you mean?" "Tomorrow, at the Moon Festival, you stand on that balcony like nothing is wrong. I will hide nearby. When the assassin comes, I will catch him. Then we will have our proof." "That is too dangerous. You could be killed." Shook his head. "If we do nothing, we will both be killed. At least this way we have a chance to fight back." For a long moment said nothing. Then she nodded slowly. "You are either very brave or very foolish." "Maybe both," said with a small smile. The Moon Festival came the next night. The city was filled with light and music. People danced in the streets. Children ran with glowing toys. It was a night of joy, but in the palace there was only tension. Stood on the balcony, waving to her people below. She looked calm, but knew her heart was racing. He was hidden behind a curtain just a few feet away, watching the shadows. 1 minute, that was all the assassin needed. 50 seconds, 40, 30. Then saw him, a figure in black, climbing up the side of the balcony from below. In his hand was a blade that glowed with purple poison. Moved fast. Years of working with his hands had made him quick. He grabbed the first thing he could find, a heavy metal vase, and threw it at the assassin's head. The vase hit its mark. The assassin stumbled, losing his grip, jumped forward and grabbed the man's arm, twisting the blade away. They fell together onto the balcony floor, fighting for control. Guards rushed in, too late but ready. They pulled the assassin away and held him down. His mask was torn off, revealing the face of one of his most trusted servants. "You fool," the man spat at. "You think this will stop us? Lord will have his revenge." But never got his chance. Within hours, the guards found evidence in his chambers. Letters, plans, even the poison used on the blade. Was arrested along with all his supporters. The plot was destroyed. That night, after everything was over, found in the garden. He was sitting by the pool, looking at the moons. "You saved my life," she said. "You would have done the same for me." Sat down beside him, closer than she had ever been before. "I did not choose you, but I am glad the prophecy did." Looked at her. In the moonlight, she did not look like a queen or an alien. She looked like a woman who had almost lost everything and had been saved by someone she was just beginning to understand. "Maybe destiny knew what it was doing," he said. Smiled. It was real this time, full and warm. Maybe it did. And in that moment, the bond between them became something more than a prophecy. It became a choice. 1 year had passed since woke up on an alien ship. 1 year since his life changed forever. Now, standing in the great hall of the palace, he could hardly recognize himself. He wore robes of silver and blue, the colors of the royal family. His hair was longer, tied back in the style. Around his neck hung a pendant made of the golden stone he had pulled from the pit of night crawlers. It marked him as one who had proven his worth. But the biggest change was inside him. The mechanic from was still there, but now he was also something more. He was a partner to a queen, a bridge between two worlds. Today was the day of the formal union ceremony. The wedding that had happened in his sleep would now be celebrated in front of the entire empire. Representatives from all 47 star systems had come to witness it. Even more importantly, ships from other empires had arrived. Thus enemies and allies alike wanted to see the human who had become prince. Stood at the center of the hall, more beautiful than ever. Her dress was made of pure light, shifting and flowing around her like a living thing. Her crown floated above her head, its silver lines brighter than the stars. When she saw walking toward her, her face broke into a smile that made his heart feel warm. "Are you ready?" she asked quietly as he reached her side. "I was ready the moment I pulled that stone from the pit," he replied. The old keeper of laws stepped forward. His voice rang out across the hall. "We are gathered here to celebrate a union blessed by prophecy and proven by trial. Queen of the and of Earth, two beings from different worlds, brought together by fate." The ceremony was long and filled with rituals had learned over the past year. He spoke words in the language. He made promises before the ancestors. He accepted the blessing of the three moons. Through it all, he held his hand and she held his. Finally raised his staff. "By the power given to me by the ancient laws, I declare this union complete and eternal. From this day forward they are one." The hall erupted in cheers. Light filled the air as they celebrated. Music played and people danced. For this one night there were no enemies, no politics, no fear, only joy. Later, when the celebration had quieted, and stood on the balcony where the assassin had nearly killed her, the city below was still bright with festival lights. "I have a gift for you," said. She waved her hand and a large image appeared in the air. It showed a planet, a blue and green planet with one moon. Earth whispered. "I have signed a treaty," said. "The Empire will protect Earth from all enemies. Your people will be given technology to heal their planet, medicine to cure their diseases, knowledge to reach the stars." She paused. "In return, we ask for nothing but friendship." Felt tears forming in his eyes. For so long, he had worried about his home world. He had feared that becoming part of the Empire meant leaving Earth behind forever, but had given him the greatest gift possible. "Why?" he asked. "You did not have to do this." Turned to look at him, her purple eyes were soft. "Because Earth made you, a world that can create someone like you is worth protecting." She touched his face gently. "And because you are my partner, your home is my home now." Could not find words. Instead, he pulled her close and held her. She was taller than him, stronger than him, but in that moment they were equals. Two souls from different stars choosing each other. In the months that followed, things moved quickly. A team of scientists traveled to Earth to make first contact. The world was shocked. Governments argued. People panicked. But slowly, carefully, the truth was accepted. Humans were not alone in the universe, and they had a powerful ally. Became the ambassador between Earth and the Empire. He traveled back and forth, helping both sides understand each other. It was not easy. Humans were stubborn and afraid of change. They were proud and often looked down on younger species, but had learned patience. He had learned to use his words the same way he used to use his hands, carefully finding the right piece to fix the problem. His mother cried when she first saw him. She had thought he was dead, missing for months without any word. When he told her he was now married to an alien queen, she did not believe him. It took a visit from herself to convince her. "You have raised a good son," told his mother, speaking through a translator. "He has brought honor to your family and your world." His mother looked at the towering alien queen, then at her son, then back at the queen. Finally, she nodded. "Take care of him," she said. "He works too hard and forgets to eat." Smiled. "I have noticed this." Years passed and ruled together, not as queen and servant but as true partners. Brought new ideas to the Empire, human ideas that they had never considered. He taught them about art and music, about the joy of simple food and the beauty of imperfection. In return, they shared their wisdom about the stars, about life, about time itself. Earth grew and changed. With help, humans began to heal their planet. They learned to travel among the stars. The first human colony was built on a moon in a distant system. Children were born who had never known a time when humans were alone in the universe. And through it all, remained the same in his heart. He still fixed things when they broke. He still talked to servants and soldiers as if they were his friends. He still missed the smell of the sea and the taste of Korean food. He was a simple man living an extraordinary life. One night many years later and stood on the same balcony where their story had taken so many turns. They were older now. His hair had streaks of gray, moved more slowly than before, but they still held hands just as they had on their wedding day. "Do you ever regret it?" asked, "choosing me?" Laughed softly. "The prophecy chose you. I chose to trust it. That was the best choice I ever made." Looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there beyond the light of 3 moons was Earth, his first home, but here, holding the hand of his queen, was his true home now. "I was just a mechanic," he said quietly. "I fixed cars. I had no dreams of anything more." Squeezed his hand. "And now you have helped fix the relationship between 2 worlds. Perhaps that is what you were always meant to do." Smiled. In the end, it did not matter where he came from or how he got here. What mattered was that he had faced every challenge with the same stubborn will that had gotten him through life on Earth. He had proven that humans, small and brief as they were, could stand among the stars. And that was the greatest victory of all.